know those days or those mornings when you wake up with a song in your head? I did this morning, and it's funny because it's been a very long time since I played this one, and it's actually one of my favorite songs too. So I thought to myself, why not have a little morning jam session with myself before I go to work? So here goes. It's a song by John Lennon. As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all. Till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. Working class hero is something to be. Working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home and they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and they despise a fool. Till you're so fucking crazy you can't follow through. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be.
That's a really, really pretty version of that song. Hey, what's going on, folks? Early in the morning, man, sitting here having my coffee. Just got done reading some comics, and I thought before I went ahead and bagged them up and everything, I would come on here and talk for a minute about them. Like I said in the past on these things, really like coming on and doing these because it really gives me a chance to talk about comics, because a lot of times, it's just like pick up videos and stuff like that. I don't really talk about any what's going on in the books or whatever. Do have to say that I will be going through and talking about what's going on in these books and stuff, giving a little bit of a summary and stuff. So if you haven't read these books, then you know but I read so many random things that chances are a lot of people haven't read these books. But so there's not really anything to spoil there. I picked up and I read a couple of books from this week, a couple of books that I just really couldn't wait on, and then also some stuff that I was a little behind on reading, or that I got in the mail or whatever. So kind of read that stuff. So it's a week or two old. But anyway, start going through these things, talking about them a little bit. So first off, I read Green Lanterns number 10. I actually read Green Lanterns number 9 and Green Lanterns number 10. Really like this Wachowski guy and what's going on with him. I am super happy that this Phantom Lantern ring came along, because now this vacant spot on my tattoos on this arm, I can finally get filled in, because there's finally a 10th lantern. I always thought it was really stupid that there wasn't a 10th lantern, that there were only 9 spectrums, which meant I could have 5 tattoos on this arm, but only 4 on this arm. And I'd been going to get the old Alan Scott Green Lantern symbol and put in that hole on that arm. I'm glad I didn't, because I really, really like this like spidery symbol of the Phantom Lantern ring. But I don't know how many people are reading Green Lanterns, but basically what's up is there is a ring that was created by the Guardians a long time ago, which basically doesn't have to pick a person. Just anybody can stick it on. But it kind of seems like it has a little bit of like a parallax feel to me, like maybe it possesses you or makes you really long for it, almost like a Laricles thing a little bit. But it allows you to access any of the spectrums, since you don't have to like be all like willpower or whatever. It kind of harnesses whatever your emotions are at the time. So it's pretty cool. So I guess this is the first appearance of the Phantom Lantern. um, which is his actual first appearance, I guess, was issue 9 was all about this Wachowski guy. That was like his life's ambition was to be a Green Lantern, but he just kind of kept getting passed over on being a Green Lantern. So he kind of made a deal that allowed him to go and get this Phantom Ring, which, like I say, I was really happy that, it's got its own symbol and everything. So, and it's kind of evil, which goes on my evil arm. So, pretty sweet. But yeah, I've really been enjoying Green Lanterns. I started out that Green Lanterns wasn't my favorite of the 2 books, which was kind of odd, but it's really grown on me. I think maybe because, I hadn't read a lot of stuff, or there wasn't a lot of stuff that had Jessica Cruz or Simon Bass in it. And that with this book that I'm reading more, what's going on with them and everything. So, that's been kind of cool. And yeah, I'm really enjoying Green Lantern so far. Humphrey's doing a really good job writing that story. And I'm not sure, but I think maybe Jeff Johns has got something to do with that too, because both of these Lantern books seem very Jeff Johnsy to me. But, good stuff. Next up, I read Brink number 4 from Oni Press. This book is really, really sweet. I'm hoping that it just doesn't, punch me in the feels at some point, because it is so sweet. And I'm really attached to this little boy here who has basically been bullied by all these like thugs and everything in his neighborhood, who have just been harassing him and his family and everything. So he goes out and creates his golem to like kind of come and be his like spirit of vengeance, and like so he can go and like beat up on his enemies and everything. And yeah, it's been really the relationship between the 2 of them. It's really really been cool the last couple of issues since he actually conjured up the golem. And so yeah, I'm really rooting for him, and I hope he continues to go out and mess some people up, because we kind of actually got introduced to like the big thug bad guy in this issue, which was really sweet. Well, that's pretty cool, man. Everybody seems to be going to these $10 trades. They show here that this first trade on Heartthrob is only going to be $10. Really enjoyed Heartthrob from Oni Press. Anybody didn't check that out, man? Only $10. And this Angel City was really good too, man. Oni Press really putting out some pretty decent books. But yeah, Brink number 4, which I believe, I guess, is going to be ongoing, at least as far as I know. I haven't seen anything in previews that leads me to believe that it's not going to be an ongoing. So, cool stuff. Read Kim and Kim number 4. I keep going back and forth on this book. I didn't really like issue 1. I really, really liked issue 2. Issue 3 was pretty dang good too. But issue 4, I didn't really care for the story that was going on here. It seems like it was still really funny, and it introduced us to some new heroes, but it almost seemed like issue 1 was a lot of introduction, and that's what I didn't like about it. And then issue 2, since everybody had been introduced, you were just able to tell a story, and then issue 3 was kind of the same way. And then this issue 4 kind of seemed like they were back to more introductions. And so, I don't know, maybe once this world, flushes out a little bit more. I do love the real indie style of the art, and the coloring in this book is great. Like I say, I just don't know whether or not the story on it is gonna really keep me totally enthralled. I will read issue 5. This is from Black Mask. We'll read issue 5 and see what's up with that, because I do like the art and all that stuff. So, I'll check out the next issue on that, because it might be, like I say, like issue 1 was, with a lot of like character development and introductions. And issue 5 might just be freaking badass. So, check it out. Read issue 7 on Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I kind of feel like I'm an issue or so behind on this book, which I know it's still on my file, and it doesn't seem like I've seen it in a while. But this is in my stack of books that I got a week ago. So I'm assuming this is the newest issue, but it seems like it should be on issue 8. But this issue kind of wrapped up the arc on what was going on. It had some really, really good pages. This stuff here with Hal and Sinestro was freaking awesome, and I thought that was awesome. And then I turned the page, and this page was freaking amazing. But yeah, this issue was pretty much just one big fight between just anybody that wanted to fight. This book's kind of been that way. It's just been one kind of big fight, except for like issue 3 or 4 or whatever, which was more of just everybody kind of licking their wounds. But other than that, it's just pretty much been a bunch of struggle between people. But yeah, I don't think this book is long in my pull list because I'm not a big fan of John Stewart, and I'm not a big fan of Hal Jordan. I do like Guy Gardner, and Sinestro's daughter. What's her name? Salak, Das Salak or something like that. I do like her, but overall, I mean, God, there's some just great. I mean, that almost looks like Alex Rossi or Neil Adamsy to me, man. That's such a good page. But yeah, I'm not totally digging this book anymore. And I'm really enjoying the Green Lantern story a whole lot more. I'm just worried if I quit reading this, that they're going to somehow tie Hal Jordan and the Corps into the Green Lanterns book. And then I'm going to be lost with what's been going on with them. So, I don't know, I may be in the same situation I was in with like New 52 and everything, that, I continue to read a bad book like Green Lantern Corps. I really didn't like the Green Lantern Corps book in New 52, but I continued to read it for way too dang long, the whole run of it. And it never really mattered that much. I mean, at certain points it did, but overall it didn't really. And I guess it had its good points. It had a couple of good little runs. Next up, I read Invisible Republic. This is in the middle of this story arc that's going on. This issue finally seemed like it got a little bit more on track since they came back from after issue 10. They kind of seemed like they were off track for a minute, but they've kind of gotten back on track. Storytelling's still really good, and the art on it is still really good. This is basically the story of like the history of this planet that we went and occupied, and like a couple of hundred years ago, basically the Earth was dying, and so we sent people out into space to colonize, and they colonized Mars, and they colonized different moons and different stuff, and and this guy has found a book about a rebellion that happened 40 years ago, and he wrote a book about it, which has caused a lot of trouble and a lot of like inner turmoil and stuff that's going on. And 12 issues in, this book is still pretty good. Still really enjoying the art on it. So yeah, keep checking it out. Like I said, this issue really got back on track with what I thought was being told in the first couple of arcs. And I mean, man, you just really, this artist I like so much. But yeah, this is just pretty much all a book by Gabriel Hardin. Does the art and does the writing on it. Jordan Boyd does the coloring on it. Coloring in it's pretty muted. for the most part. It's got kind of a gray wash thing going on, like a noir wash thing going on. But yeah, Invisible Republic, pretty darn good. Then I read all 3 issues of Finn from American Gothic Press. This book was so weird. So it was only a three-part series, and you know, the covers on it, I really like the covers on the series. You know, they're all kind of similar, but yeah. So basically, the gist of this is that there's this woman that really, really likes to eat, and she runs into this girl in a parking lot that basically used to be fat and is now skinny. And she tells her, "Hey, I went to this doctor," and she's like, "You know, well, how do I go to this doctor? Because I want to be skinny." She's having all this stuff that's going on with her husband having an affair and all this different stuff. But so she goes to this doctor, and then like just weirdness ensues with all these freaking worms and crap that are like, see if I can find a good picture of the worm. The art is really, really odd. But there's like this worm that while she's like tied to a bed, keeps trying to kill her, and she keeps like killing the worms. And it reminded me a lot of the Stephen King book, kind of Dolores Claiborne, in the way that it was, but it definitely had a really like Stephen Kingy feel to me. But it's done all by John Clark, writes it and does the illustration. I thought the story on it was pretty good for only being 3 issues and being just a little self-encapsulated story. I honestly would like to see more of this story, where it goes after this 3-part series, because issue 3 totally wrapped it up. I mean, it's a totally self-contained story in these 3 issues, and yeah, it was pretty darn enjoyable. You know, all things considered. It was a little slow, but it doesn't have a whole lot of words. So much of the story is just told with the art and everything. But you know, it was a little slow in the first issue, getting to know the girl, and then the second issue was pretty much just her fighting with these worms, and then the third issue was all about the resolution. And I mean, it bookended really, really good. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Really didn't need more than 3 issues. But if they did do more issues of this, I would definitely check it out for sure. I mean, most everything that I've read from American Gothic Press, I really, really enjoyed. I really enjoy Broken Moon. I really enjoy Killbox. You know, there's another American Gothic Press. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, that's coming out in a couple of months that I want to check out. But yeah, so then I got Eclipse #3. Hold on a second, see if I can sort out this camera right quick. Anyway, I got Eclipse #3 that actually did come out this week. I could not, I've really been enjoying Eclipse. And so I went ahead and picked it up so that I could see what's going on with this. It's been a real good, like, solar flare apocalypse story with like a murder mystery that's going on in the center of it. A really good murder mystery that's going on in the center of it, because I'm not at all sure what's going on with with what's going on. But you know, the art on it has been is pretty solid, and really, really enjoy the coloring. Really love in the back of this that they showed how that they do a sketch, and then they do the coloring, and then they go back over the coloring and do the ink, which I thought was a really interesting way of doing the pages. Because it kind of seems like to me that you don't get any, you wouldn't get any shading in something like that. But yeah, I mean, this is mainly about our main two characters here. This guy who is what they call an Iceman, which is somebody that wears this cold suit so that he can go outside, because in this world, um, the sun will just kill you, like you're kind of like in a vampire movie or something, where like the sun hits a vampire and they turn to dust. Yeah, that's pretty much what the sun will do to you in this world. So they kind of all live underground, and there's somebody that is running around killing people, and they're trying to figure out who exactly it is that's running around killing people. And yeah, like I say, man, it's a pretty good little murder mystery thing going on that seems like it's got some kind of a like a Illuminati overtone. These like bunch of people that are trying to kill folks off. But yeah, so far so good. And I like in this book that in the back of it that they had these like press releases or emails or something that were sent out like 10 years ago, that when all this started, you know, like this one right here is from the president asking whoever's in charge in New York to allow them into town, because New York, they told New York that they were going to be abandoned, and everybody else was dying, and New York kind of figured out how to get solar power and how to, you know, how to sustain themselves. So they shut themselves off, and it's like, you know, telling them that if they don't let them in, then they're going to send military in and attack them and stuff. And so, yeah. And like I said too, you know, they do these like art breakdowns and story breakdowns in the back. Pretty sweet. They also have like a contest where you can have art, um, art in the Eclipse book. So yeah, man, a lot of good stuff going on there. A lot of good interaction going on with, you know, and it's a $3.99 book, which normally, well, I mean, everything now is turned into $3.99. I almost feel lucky sometimes when I pick up $3.99 books, because you know, some of my books now are $4.99. But you know, I don't mind paying $3.99 if you give me some added bonus stuff in the back, you know, or if you give me previews, you know, like you've got these previews for this mechanism book, and you give me like a 3 or 4 page preview in the back of the book, and you know, I kind of like that. You know, it lets me see for like, you know, 50 cents of that extra dollar that I'm paying, lets me see whether or not I might actually want to go out and pick up that book, because I pick up so many books that half the time that are just bad that I pick up because, you know, it sounds cool, or it's, you know, a #1 and I want to check it out or something. So, you know, always good whenever I can get a preview of something. Black Mask has been doing that a lot lately too. You know, giving little little shots of books in the back of their book to let me know whether or not, you know, like this right here, there's a sneak peek in the back of the Skeptics, which, yeah, I actually enjoyed the Skeptics quite a bit. And, you know, they give that. In the back of the Skeptics, there was actually 2 previews. There was a previews for the Forevers, and there was a preview for Black, you know, which was pretty freaking sweet. Hey, man, yeah. Comics and coffee are sweet. I don't know that I've seen you before, Shotgun, but thanks for coming in and checking out what I'm doing. I'm actually done doing what I'm doing, except for I am going to talk about a couple of TV shows real quick. I don't know if anybody's watching the new season of Supernatural, but that new season of Supernatural is so freaking good. Um, it's amazing that you can have a show that's been on for a million seasons like they have, that somehow um, you've managed to like really get me interested in this book or get me interested in this show again. Um, through the introduction of these men of letters from England that seem to really have it in for Sam and Dean and everything that's going on. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And really liking Supergirl since Supergirl switched over to CW. Man, they are bringing in so much different stuff on that show, and you know, really making some quality stuff over there. Walking Dead also, man, has come back relatively strong. Although I did actually watch last night's episode, but I haven't seen the first two episodes of the season. But I did kind of tune in last night because I wanted to see something about the Kingdom. Um, but yeah, looked all right. But at this point, the show is kind of catching up with the comic to me. That you know, I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how interested I am in continuing to watch the show because I really like the comic and I read the comic in trade, and I would prefer really at this point just to read the comic uh, and not so much check out the show. But you know, that's about all I got to say about that. Um, I'm gonna get off here and drink my coffee, read a couple more comics, and get ready to go about my day. Again, man, thanks for checking in, Dirk, and you know, saying hey. And I will chat at y'all later.